Compared with all the other bands Bowie covers in pin-ups, the Pink Floyd is the next generation. While the other bands were all born from the initial early 60s British beat boom, mainly from the London rhythm and blues scene, the Pink Floyd was formed in the mid-60s. And although it still came out of R&B, it was one of those bands that started to bring ideas learned in art schools into the rock and roll arena. By the end of 1966, it was the leading light of the fledgling English psychedelic scene. The main songwriter of the band, at that stage, was lead singer and guitarist Syd Barrett, who possessed that wonderful surreal, whimsical sense shared by many English writers. The first single he wrote for the band came out in early 1967 and was called Arnold Lane, a bizarre story about a person who steals ladies' clothes from washing lines and wears them at home in front of the mirror. So it continued the mod obsession with clothes, but subverted it. While the mods were wearing fancy clothes to accentuate their exterior and shine in the eyes of their peers, Arnold Lane wears them for himself alone, as an expression of some internal diversion from the norm. The music, accordingly, still sounded a lot like R&B, but already contained some psychedelic touches. The second single Barrett wrote, a few months later, was already fully psychedelic. It was See Emily Play.
Emily tries but misunderstands. She's often inclined to borrow somebody's dreams till tomorrow.
Like Arnold Lane, Emily is borrowing something. But it isn't clothes, it's dreams. We are moving into the psychedelic era, in which the focus is on the inner world, the interior, not the exterior. But why does she need to borrow dreams?
Soon after dark, Emily cries, gazing at trees in sorrow, hardly could sound till tomorrow.
She needs to borrow the dreams of others because her spiritual world is empty. The Pink Floyd are pointing at what they see as the spiritual poverty of the mid-60s pop scene and demanding to go deeper.
Put on a gown that touches the ground. Float on a river forever and ever, Emily.
Emily doesn't care about clothes. She puts on a gown that completely conceals what she's wearing, turning the gaze inwards. But she has nothing to hold on to in her inner world, either, so she just endlessly floats, with no meaning or purpose. The chorus offers a solution. Let's play mind games, through which we will lose the empty notions that society instilled in us, liberate what's locked inside our brains, and then build something meaningful around that. This was one of the maxims of the psychedelic movement. The music of the original single, with its kaleidoscopic psychedelic delights, depicts those games in one of the best psychedelic pop singles. The band's third single, Apples and Oranges, completed the transformation. The hero is a poor fruit peddler who falls in love with a fashionable high society woman, but he knows it can't work because they are apples and oranges, completely different from each other. Not because of their economic status, but because he is a spiritual person who cares about what's in the mind, while she only seems to care about material and external things. In the end, though, she comes to see things his way, and the superiority of the mind is affirmed. On side B of that single we find Paintbox, written by keyboardist Rick Wright, a record that deals with having to play the game of pop stardom and feeling it is all rather empty. The Pink Floyd wanted to be about music, not style. Syd Barrett left the Pink Floyd soon after, a victim of excessive LSD intake. The new leader of the band, now calling itself just Pink Floyd, was Roger Waters, and he took it away from the pop game of making hits and in the direction of long experimental tracks. Pink Floyd became one of the leading progressive rock bands, and just a few months before Pin-Ups, they perfected their art to produce what is arguably the greatest prog rock album, Dark Side of the Moon. Taking themselves very seriously, they proved that rock could have merit as a purely musical form. But for Bowie, something was lost in the process, and he always preferred Sid's Pink Floyd. The new music made by the band lost that playfulness, that sense of fun that is still so present in See Emily Play. His cover takes the glam sound and throws it into a psychedelic blender, with scary singing that sounds like a monster choir, a spooky synthesizer, a piano that moves from classical to avant-garde, and finally strings that join in the craziness, but then find balance and end the piece on a lovely baroque note. It's hard to reproduce the magic of the original See Emily Play, but Bowie's rendition is a very worthy homage.